Hey, this is just weird. So, I wanted to make this video. I am making this video, and I am talking to myself. There's an imaginary audience that I am speaking to. Right now, it's my phone. But I imagine that some of you will find this interesting. Maybe because you love me, maybe because you don't like me, maybe because you enjoy drama, whatever. So I live here in a small town in North Carolina, a small town by a seminary, Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary, to be exact. I don't know why I'm speaking in code. It's just as weird. Those of you who know how to do this are better at me than this. Yeah, so my dad attended this seminary. My husband attended this seminary. I'm actually just from a small town right down the road, 45 minutes down the road. Anyways, but we live here. We live here right by the seminary. Our whole, pretty much mine and Conrad's whole married life. This is the place that we have raised our children. Our kids go to their base public school here, right around the corner from the seminary. Anyways, okay, all of that to say, where to begin? So today, some of you know that I have started a business called Hoot and Danny Entertainment, and I host music bingo. So anyways, I have a gig that I host at weekly, and in Creedmoor, and I have to print cards for that location every week. So the seminary has a library, and they allow free printing, and it's to the public. So anyone can go in there. It's actually a great gift that they're offering to the public. An opportunity for community to come in and use the library and print things, right? So there's PhD students. I'm sure there's dissertations being printed there. I've gone in there to print things for like insurance forms, forms that I needed to renew my passport, things like that. So more recently, I go in there and I print my bingo cards. And in the beginning, I was still trying to figure out the printer, the size of card that I wanted to print. I was very mindful of waste. In fact, one of the people who works there, I had printed something and it was like, I got the wrong size, and I made several mistakes, and it was like 30 pieces of paper came through, and I had to toss all of it. And she was like, "Oh, don't even worry, it's free. So, it's okay if you make a mistake." And I'm like And, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've wasted so much paper. Like, I'm so worried about this. So anyways, you know, I'm thinking about that as I'm printing paper. Every week, I want to make sure, hey, I want to do this right so that I can use the least amount of paper and get cards that are large enough for the people who are playing to be able to see. And anyways, so today I go in once a week, print my cards like normal, no big deal. I've never had any problems. I go in there, I say hey to the people at the front desk, but I'm just going in there. I'm trying to get in, get out. I'm not trying to spend a ton of time in there because I have other things to do. So I want to print my stuff. So again, today, no different than any other day. I went in the morning. I was going to get 2 weeks worth of cards printed, and so that I didn't have to go in next week. I just wanted to be a little more prepared this week because my sister's going to be helping host at the location that I host at each week, so that I can take my son to a baseball game. Okay, very long story. Trying to make it short, not going to happen. So anyways, okay, so it's a seminary, right? So I've got dreads. I'm coming in here each week, I'm getting looks. People are staring at me like, who is this person? Why does she come in here? In fact, people have some of the, not at the front desk, like where you enter, but some of the people who work like this little side desk have been like, because after I print, I'll go and like cut the papers in half. If I can, I try to do like a double. So like I get 2 cards on 1 sheet of paper. So if I need 40 cards, I'm only actually printing out 20 sheets of paper, and then I cut them in half. So, a lot of times I stand out, obviously. I don't look like I fit in or belong at this place, even though, again, my husband went to school there. So, and a lot of I have a lot of friends that work there that are professors. And I'm aware of that, so that's fine. So I get a lot of, are you from here? Are you alumni? Are you a student? Do you live in the community? Just, inquisitive questions. And I understand, and I respond. So often, but more recently, I've been like, what are you printing? Are you a teacher? Because I'll print and I'll put things in a folder. Are you, and things that are, they're just absolutely none of their business, right? Questions. If a PhD student came in and was printing off their dissertation and they didn't look like me, there would be no question. It's like, oh, you belong here, So again, try not to make assumptions, but these are just facts, okay? These things have happened over the course of however many weeks that I've been going in there to print. I've been getting lots of questions. If I went to my public library and did the same thing, if I went to Staples and did the same thing, I would not be asked any questions. I would not be, who are you? Why are you here? What do you do for a living? What are you printing? There wouldn't be anyone standing over my shoulder like, what is this for? Why are you printing these pages? So anyways, it's free to print. I'm thankful for it, to be able to print my cards for free. it is not something that and I am mindful of waste, and I am not going in there like, oh, uh, I'll print a million pieces of paper today. It's free. Um, so anyways, okay, so today though was a little bit different. I go in and this is not this isn't the first time that I've printed off 2 weeks worth. So I'll just go in for one day, right? So it'll take me a couple of hours, get all my stuff printed, get all my stuff cut. They have a paper cutter right there. I'll get it all done, put it in my folders, have it all ready. I go in one time, I'm done. I'm in and out. They won't see me back for another couple weeks. So today, though, I was starting to get some more questions. Are you a teacher? Again, and they're just trying to figure it out. Again, it's open to the public, okay? So anyone in the public can go to this library and they can print for free. So I'm cutting my paper. Next thing I know, a supervisor comes over, does not introduce himself, does not ask my name, just starts going into, hey, I just want you to know, it is free to print here. But but it's very ambiguous. Okay, these are his words. You can't just come in here and print a book, okay? It is free to the public to print here, but you can't just come in and print a book. And I'm listening, and already sharing this, I'm starting to well up a little bit, because I felt like I was in trouble. I was like, I'm in trouble. What have I done wrong? I'm in trouble. Who is this pastor coming to tell me that I've done the wrong thing? I don't fit in. I don't look right. I don't belong here. What are you doing? Assumptions immediately coming at me. As to why I'm being the one questioned. No one else here is being questioned. Only I am. Never caused a problem. Never said anything. I'd also like to add that there's some women at that front desk that are absolutely amazing. And there have been times where I needed some help. I didn't even know how to work the printer. Oh my gosh, it's like been forever, like since school for me. And I was like, how do I figure out borders? And they like came and sat next to me and helped me figure out how to customize my borders, again, because I was trying to save paper, so that I could fit as much of that bingo card onto one sheet of paper and get as many, cards on one sheet of paper. Anyways, were absolutely amazing. Okay, so this guy comes up to me, energy-wise, he was in charge. He was the authority. He's not taking me into consideration. He's coming at me with a lot of assumptions and a lot of demands and some information, okay? So I look at him and I say, is there a problem? Because he said it's free to print here, but there's a limit to our freeness. There's a limit to our generosity. And it also felt like there's discrimination to our generosity, and what is free. So I looked at him and I was like, is there a problem here? Because he was kind of fumbling over his words too. And his language was just uncertain. And even he was like, there's a lot of ambiguity. And a lot of us here don't even agree on the policy. Some of us think it is free. You could print a book. And some of us say it is free up to 45 pages, or 100 pages. And he's like, and maybe that's how many pages you have printed. Is that true? How many pages have you printed? And what are you printing? And then that's when I said, is there a problem? Again, because he's asking me questions that are kind of none of his business. Um, and then he, again, goes into some more information. Um, and I said to him, and then asks me another question. And also he was beginning to really enter into my space. And he wasn't making eye contact with me. He was looking down at what I'm printing. He was trying to read everything that was the paper that I was cutting. So all of my papers were open and I was cutting them on the cutting board. He was looking down and I started to feel a little threatened. I I felt like he was going to tell me, like I felt like he was going to take away the work that I was doing. And say you can't have this. Um And so, my heart rate really started to go up. Fight or flight kicked in. My brain shut off, and I did not know how to respond to him. Um, and I said, "Thank you for the information that you've just shared with me." Again, I'm feeling like I'm in trouble. I feel like I'm being reprimanded. And he's really approaching me with his authority. And he looked at me and he said, "I asked you a question." And this is, I was, at this point, I felt, just really attacked. I asked you a question. And the question was, how many pages have you printed and what are you printing? And I looked at him and I was just like, do I have to answer that question? I felt like I was on trial. Like, are you a police officer? I haven't done anything wrong. I'm literally just coming in here to print pages. Um, and your seminary has said that it's for free to the public. And why is it free to the public except for to bring people in um that are in our community to provide, like, to offer us a generous gift, to serve your community. um I talked to Conrad about this a little bit too. Because I had to decompress, because after leaving there I was just extremely, like, you know shook up about it. And he was just like, man, how lucky that for them that this wasn't like some random person in the community that was just like, you're being a fucking asshole. It's none of your fucking business what I'm printing. Get the hell out of my face. Right? Like, um, because it really was none of his business what I was printing. It's um like, why all the questions? And then or to be like, because here I am, a person of faith, um being confronted by a person who is working in a institution that is their whole thing is go, right? Like, go make disciples, go and share the good news. And they still can't, they don't know what free means, right? Like, they even say that their library is open to the public for free printing, free up to, you know? And it's like, it makes me wonder sometimes, do you understand that the good news is free? Like, do you understand the gospel that you are going to proclaim to all nations is free? It's a free gift. It's good news. It's free completely. There's no limit. There's no 45 to 100 pages per day, right? I mean, I could have been less smart ass, and I could have been like, oh, okay, I'll come in and print 20 today, 20 tomorrow, 20 the next day. I'll be here every fucking day. It's like, I just come in here one day, I get my shit done, and I get out. I've never, ever done anything to you, right? So anyway, he's like, I asked you a question. And I looked at him and I was like, do I have to answer your question? Do I have to answer your question? I have to tell you as a person in your community. Okay, and I'm not even telling him. I didn't say, hey, my fucking dad went here, right? Like, my husband graduated from here. Okay, I am a spouse to an alumni. I get to go to Share Shop. I get to go to the clinic. I get to go I actually get special treatment because I'm an alumni, right? As a spouse to an alumni, right? I didn't say anything because I don't I don't carry that badge, right? That status. I'm just a person in the community that is receiving a gift that you've offered. Did you mean it or did you not mean it? Is it free or is it not? Because if it's not, then you need to wrestle with that yourself. You need to reflect yourself. Are you people pleasing? Are you trying to prop up an image of generosity and kindness? Or are you actually a misogynistic bigot, um, uh, greedy asshole? Like which is it? Because be honest, at least be honest with yourself and be honest with the community that you're here to serve. Because you can say one thing and then you act another way. And I'm sorry, but we know the truth by how you're treating us, by how you're acting. So, anyways, look at me. I'm triggered. Yeah, right. Like, I mean, this was difficult for me today. I've been ruminating over this all day long, pretty much, thinking, I want to share this. Um, but then and also though I've had to do my own reflection. Okay, do I want this to be true about this person, right? Because I advocate for people who've experienced spiritual abuse. I support people who have experienced people in these types of institutions, these Christian institutions, in this exact way. And here I found myself in a moment experiencing this, being a public, being a community person, going to print something, print paper. Okay, literally, I'm printing. He could have seen this as, wow, look at how we are serving this mom who is trying, who has a startup business, right? Music Bingo, where she is going out and serving communities where when I host Music Bingo, I get to have conversations that they're probably not getting to have, right? Opportunities that they don't have. And kind of like how the church says, give us money so we can send missionaries. And it's like, hey, could you donate to me free paper so that I could go into these spaces and love people? Because it's a place that I love to be. Anyways, again, he didn't want to get to know me. He was using his authority over me. There was something about me that, my weekly coming in to print, or bi-weekly coming in to print, um, it was however he was feeling. Again, I can't make assumptions, right? Like, I have a whole story in my head and all kinds of things that I want to grab onto, that to comfort myself, to make myself feel safe. So I'm trying to just keep it to the facts. Anyways, so yeah, so I said, do I have to answer this question? And he said, well, no. And he began to get kind of, frazzled, wasn't really sure what to do with me at that point because I just didn't bend over and answer his question. Again, none of his business. If I was in a public library, no one would be approaching me. They might be approaching me if I was being loud, being disrespectful, if I was not being mindful of maybe how long I was using the computers, if people were waiting, if I was punching the printer for not printing my paper, like things like that. But I wasn't. I was being very respectful. I was coming in and getting minding my own business, tending to my business, and getting out. So, yeah. So when I said, "Do I have to answer that question?" He was like, "I mean, no." And I said, "Okay, well, thank you for your information." And I mean, you could just like, he kind of spun in a circle and really didn't know what to do with himself. Does he walk right? Does he walk left? And I had to go on and finish cutting my paper and breathe, right? Like, because once again, I find myself in a position where, from my perspective, because I know I wasn't doing anything wrong because it was free for me to print, that what he had a problem was with me. It was just with me. It was how much paper I was printing, and he didn't know if I deserved that much paper. And he needed to know what I was doing printing that paper so that he could decide, it's the control, right? He could decide if I was deserving of that much, So, and then I understood, I don't want people coming in here printing books. I don't want people, articles, whatever, like sometimes there's like free PDFs online, whatever. You could print like a 200-page book. And I understand that, I wasn't coming in to do that. So he was wanting to know, what are you here for? And I felt like it was pretty obvious. I'm here to print a few things, I come in here once a week and you've seen me before. So yeah, I was walking out with my folders, trying to get my heart rate to come down, feeling really stupid, feeling a lot of shame, a lot of those things coming back up, from men who have had authority over me in the past and my caring what they think about me. And if I'm right, or if I'm wrong, or if I'm in trouble, or if I've done something bad that's going to ostracize me from that community, or that I'd find myself not accepted and that I don't belong because of the disrespect that I'm experiencing from a person in a position of authority who is also a Christian, who has the task of teaching me about the love of God, and who has the task of shepherding my soul, abusing that power and abusing their authority to control me, or to tell me what is wise for me. Yeah, so anyways, I walked outside. There was a lady who, again, I've been printing there for a little while, so I've gotten to at least know like kind of some of the people who are like supervisors. I don't even know what her position is or whatever, but I just kind of filled her in on my exchange with this man. And I want to add this too, because, I'm not perfect in my seeing. And in this moment, I really had to be like, okay, listen to his words, not any judgment that you have of him from a past experience. There was one time when I was in there printing, and there was a woman of color. And this doesn't have meaning. This doesn't have to necessarily be for him or for her or whatever, but these are the details. There was a woman of color who, and it was in the morning, who had gotten the last cup of coffee. And she was kind of, there's always a different a different woman at this desk that helps with, like, if you have any printing questions or paper, needing a paper refill or whatever. And so she was there, and she had taken the last cup of coffee, and I overheard this exchange. You know, it's quiet, you can hear all the conversations. So and it was with the same man who came and spoke to me today, and I actually haven't seen him a lot of times, but it just so happened to be I saw him in this exchange with this woman, and then he was the one who approached me today. But she had gotten the last cup of coffee, and he walked out and he was like, "Oh, there's no coffee left." And he was like, "I'm in meetings all day. Ugh, I really needed a cup of coffee." And this sweet girl, she was just like, "Oh, I took the last cup of coffee." I could tell she felt guilt. You know, like, her need of that coffee was so insignificant compared to his need of that coffee and how important his day is and his job and his exhaustion. You know, him needing that boost for the day is more important than the work that she was doing in the coffee that she needed, or even just maybe she didn't need it, but she wanted it, just the enjoyment of coffee, the taste of coffee, you know. So she apologized. She had nothing to apologize for. It wasn't her job to know that he wanted coffee, right? She had just gotten to it before him. It wasn't malicious. There was nothing about it that was malicious. And he looked at her and said, "Well, then could you go make another pot?" And I heard that. And again, I'm triggered, right? I'm about to go punch this man for this woman who I do not know. But I see her submissive. She's doing everything she's supposed to do as a female in that position who is under a man. She would have given him her coffee, you know, because she thought she had done something wrong. And he told her to get up and go make another pot. He couldn't make it himself. He couldn't make that pot of coffee himself. He's a victim. So when he approached me, I already had that red flag, right? Like, there was already a judgment, you know. So I'm having to, in that moment, to it being triggered. And here I am in trouble. Just listen to the facts. Just listen to his words. You can only respond to that. You can't respond to something that you saw. You can't weaponize that against him. It is discernment for you, right? It is wisdom. Okay? It is a truth. It is a story. It is a narrative that you could apply here, right? But yeah, I had to have just my own experience and respond to it the best way that I could. Staying calm, staying present in my body, noticing my trigger, noticing my own trauma. Trusting myself, having deep compassion for this moment. And also advocating for myself. Are you allowed to ask me how many papers I've printed? Are you allowed to read what I'm printing? Are you about to escort me out because I've printed things that your policy says are free for the public? So I also had a power that I didn't give him. And that made him really uncomfortable. And his body revealed to me that he did not know what to do. he got frazzled, you know. He kind of spun in a circle and didn't, do I go right? Do I go left? Where do I go? Do I go back to my office? You know, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to someone telling me no. I'm not answering your question. Anyways, so that's the story.
Who are you talking to?
Myself.
What?
I know.